Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, then turn that notification button on right now.
Pro wrestling isn't all about the glitz and glamour. While the WWE superstars are often seen as real-life superheroes, being a superstar is especially tough on the performers. Traveling 200 some odd days a year and working even on holidays is not something everyone signs up for, but that is the price wrestlers have to pay to make a name for themselves in the largest sports entertainment organization on the planet. Even when wrestlers make it to WWE, there's absolutely no guarantee that they will succeed. At the end of the day, it's show business, and show business will always be cutthroat. Only the strong will survive in WWE, and the creative team doesn't always come up with good storylines, so the superstars have to make several sacrifices to push and produce their way to stay relevant in the company. However, not every superstar has been successful in growing their reputation inside the realm of WWE, and in this video we take a look at 10 superstars whose careers were ruined by WWE either because of horrendous booking or because they ran into issues with the management. Before Mero came to WWE, he was a hot commodity in WCW, playing the character of Johnny B. Bad. In fact, Vince McMahon was reportedly so fascinated with the character that he wanted Mero to play a gimmick similar to him in WWE. Mero won the WCW TV title 3 times, and when he left WCW due to creative differences, Vince McMahon immediately got on the phone and offered Mero a contract. The initial few months in the company saw Mero reach the semi-final round of the King of the Ring tournament, and later defeated the likes of Steve Austin and Owen Hart to become the Intercontinental Champion. During this time, however, Vince McMahon and Vince Russo were reportedly so high on Sable that they wanted to make her the focal point, and this was when the wheels started to come off. Mero was scheduled to face Steve Austin, let Sable powerbomb him a week prior, essentially killing any momentum he had left. Austin reportedly called Vince and shot down the idea of facing Mero. Soon enough, Mero left the company along with Sable, and while Mero quietly walked away into the sunset, Sable returned to WWE a few years later and had an on-screen relationship with Vince McMahon. Malenko was one of the best technical wrestlers of his generation. With his nonchalant demeanor and his ice-cold looks, Malenko carried himself with dignity and poise, while also possessing the ability to twist someone into a pretzel. Malenko jumped ships to WWE along with other members of the Radicals, and the 4 superstars were expected to get a big push in the company. Malenko was then booked as a singles wrestler, and Dean won the Light Heavyweight Championship, which many thought would lead to a successful singles run in the company, but the WWE creative team had different ideas. Malenko was booked as a Double Host 7, a parody of James Bond's character, making Malenko look like a klutz, as he donned the mask of a womanizer, a far cry from his wrestling machine gimmick. Malenko was then placed in storylines where he chased Lita and was mainly involved in intergender rivalries. Dean decided to call it a day in 2001, but not before his career nosedived in the company. Perry Saturn was a promising talent who had the looks and skill to become a solid mid-card talent at the least. Similar to Malenko, Saturn was booked well in the first few initial months, and he managed to win the Hardcore title and even the European Championship in his first year with WWE. Unlike Malenko, Saturn's downfall was his own doing. Saturn legitimately attacked an enhancement talent who went by the name of Mike Bell. Of course, this wasn't without reason, as Bell botched an arm drag, dropping Saturn on his head and neck. Perry then attacked Bell and threw him around like a rag doll, and hit him with stiff punches. Saturn had to spend the rest of his WWE tenure in the proverbial doghouse as a result of this, and he underwent a gimmick change, which saw him ramble incoherently, and he became infatuated with a mop. After Moppy was destroyed by Terry Runnels and Raven, Saturn injured his ACL, and had to sit on the sidelines for 4 months. He was subsequently released from his contract. The Road Warriors, also known as the Legion of Doom, were a legendary tag team comprising of Animal and Hawk. At the height of their success, the Road Warriors were the most dominant tag team in North America and won numerous titles around the globe. While the duo worked with WWE from 90 to 92, they traveled the world for the next few years, before signing with WWE once again in 97. It coincided with WWE's change in vision, as the company made their product a little edgier. This resulted in the powers that be deciding to use Hawk's personal struggles with drug and alcohol addiction and incorporate them into a storyline. While Animal and Hawk initially refused to go along with the angle, they had no other option, and in the end, WWE killed Hawk's character by making him jump off the Titantron. As it turned out, the storyline only worsened Hawk's addiction. Animal and Hawk soon quit the company, and while they did perform on the indies for a brief period, Hawk's career was pretty much done skis after he killed himself on live TV. Before Sin Cara became synonymous with botches in WWE, he was one of Mexico's top superstars. In fact, Sin Cara and Alberto Del Rio did not like each other, as Del Rio was furious about being the number 2 guy in Mexico. So when WWE started scouting for potential replacements for Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara was an obvious choice. Cara joined the company to much fanfare, but it quickly dawned on him and the fans and the creative team who really couldn't come up with an idea of how they could book the Mexican sensation. From dimming the lights during his bouts to making him wrestle WWE-style matches, Sin Cara found it difficult to adapt in the organization. His stint was largely forgettable as he was plagued by injuries and couldn't build any sort of momentum. WWE and Sin Cara parted ways at the beginning of 2014, and the former Mystico blamed WWE for his catastrophic run, saying they did not allow him to wrestle his usual style in the company. Before Itami signed with WWE, he was one of the biggest names on the free market. There seems to be a pattern developing with the major indie stars that sign with WWE. While the company is usually known for banning dangerous moves and keeping things relatively simple, performers that have excelled on the indie scene often find themselves in the examination room in the company. Itami was no different. WWE believed that Hideo would finally be the superstar that could unlock the Asian market for the promotion. Itami's stint on NXT saw him climb the proverbial ladder, only to be brought down by injuries and booking decisions that never really helped his cause. Hideo did seem to have the world at his feet while competing on the independent scene, but now finds himself relegated to the 205 Live roster. Though Itami competed on Raw on a few occasions, it doesn't bode well for the Japanese star to be competing on a brand that remains an afterthought in the organization. From winning the World Heavyweight title in WCW to stalking a superstar's wife in WWE, it was a quick fall from grace for DDP. Towards the end of the millennium, DDP found himself main eventing WCW pay-per-views and even battling for the top title in the promotion. So when WWE decided to bring Page to the company after WCW folded, many believed that DDP could be a main eventer in WWE. However, those sentiments were quickly rebuffed, as Diamond Dallas Page was revealed as a stalker who was stalking then Undertaker's wife Sarah. While the storyline had the potential to put DDP over as a credible threat, The Undertaker completely destroyed Page, and the former WCW heavyweight champ was seen pinned by Sarah on TV. Page left the company in 2002, just a year after signing. And although he did compete in TNA Impact Wrestling for a brief period, it was obvious that his wrestling career had run its course, and he completely decided to retire from the wrestling business. Zack wasn't supposed to be famous. He was just another lower mid-card guy that was languishing at the bottom of the totem pole in WWE. Ryder, at least in WWE's eyes, was yet another generic lower mid-card talent and had nothing to offer, and did not stand out from the pack. This was when Ryder decided to take matters into his own hands and use social media to show the fans what he was capable of. Vince McMahon detests performers that prove him wrong, especially if the fans get on the bandwagon and question Vince's decisions. His rise in fame resulted in the fans chanting his name in the arenas, while the creative team believed that he was nothing more than a curtain jerker. WWE finally decided to put the US title on him, but there was nothing more sinister in the works. The promotion took the hottest commodity in wrestling and completely killed his momentum. Not only that, but they took over his YouTube show and managed to ruin the single best thing on social media for the fans. Furthermore, WWE used Ryder's popularity to further storylines involving John Cena. And for all of his troubles, Ryder was pushed off of the stage in a wheelchair, and his momentum was killed after that. Ryder is back to where he belongs in WWE's view, and that is at the bottom of the food chain. What do you think WWE should do with Zack Ryder now that he's no longer teaming with Mojo Rawley? Let me know in the comments. When Wade Barrett led a group of superstars against the marquee names in the promotion from NXT, many viewed it as a stroke of genius. WWE rarely took chances, but their decision to book Nexus as an unstoppable force paid dividends. Well, at least it did in the beginning. And then John Cena happened. For a good decade, everything that Cena touched in WWE turned to ashes. Cena also gained notoriety during this time as someone that buried talent. And when Barrett defeated Cena, forcing him to join Nexus, the fans believed that WWE would book Barrett as a legitimate main eventer. And oh boy, were they wrong. John not only got his revenge, but he proceeded to single-handedly dismantle the hottest faction since the NWO. Barrett then underwent a gimmick change, but never really recovered from his devastating loss. As Bad News Barrett, WWE once again had the chance to hit the reboot button with Wade, but that never happened either. This resulted in Barrett leaving the WWE. and he has largely stayed away from in-ring competition since. Back in 2004, WWE had struck gold. Not since the days of Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik had there been a superstar that rubbed the fans the wrong way. With his anti-American sentiment, Muhammad Hassan was everything WWE needed. His character was relevant, and at such a volatile time in the country, Hassan's rant against the country made him one of the most hated villains in the modern era. Hassan wasn't a seasoned performer, but the way he carried himself made him a bona fide superstar. He had all the qualities to become a world champion in WWE, and if reports are believed to be true, he was in line for a major push in the organization. However, the London bombings in 2005 forced the WWE's hand, and the promotion decided to kill the Hassan character. Hassan, who was at the top of his game, was sent back to WWE's developmental territory before being released from the promotion. Hassan subsequently retired from pro wrestling, and a potential main event talent succumbed to the political pressures, thus prematurely ending a promising career. And these were 10 careers that were ruined by WWE. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.